Microsoft has done tremendous in this space. Amazon has its own Bedrock platform. There are several competitors, including Facebook, which is going towards the open source community. So the big question is, where do you go and invest your dollars? Where do you expect returns on this investment? Let's take a look at the landscape of large language models, what the current use cases are, where the time to value is in this video. And by the way, as we get started, if you've not seen my previous video, I actually went and broke down the entire AI industry. What are the key players? What are they working on? What are the importance in the market and how the entire stack is laid out. So if you've not seen that video, I would encourage you to go look at that video to have a broader overview, because in today's video, we're going to jump directly into the large language models and their categorization. So before we actually dig into the large language model landscape, one of the prime question is, why is this important to understand? And this is also the reason and the motivation behind why I put this video together. I think there are three factors why I thought this would be extremely relevant. Number one, the decision makers, the people who are signing the check, for them and for the guys who are practitioners, this is a very overwhelming decision. There are so many models. Second, each of this model has its own strength and weakness and their focus areas and core business areas. So that's another piece of information which typically a large consulting company would provide these decision makers. And my hope is that I can break that down in a simpler manner in this video. The third thing is, obviously this video acts as a update on where this industry is headed. This is one of the most cutting edge spaces. So of course, anything which I say, anything which I share, while it is my point of view, this can change extremely fast in a couple of days as well. So this is more like a point in time update on where the large language models are today and where should people invest and what should they expect. So that's the core. With that, now let's look at the models and how they are positioned. I've created a 2x2 grid to simplify and position all of this, and let's take a look together. As you can see, I've broken this into 4 quadrants. One of the quadrant or one of the rows is companies which are traditional and they have had a traditional focus. The second set of companies are disruptive, or their focus is creating a market disruption. And on the top, if you see the columns, I've created 2 columns. I'm calling them enterprise and research. By the way, as you go through this is not just a video. I've also created PDFs of both of these slides I'm going to be showing you. So this information is available for you to download and make use of this information. It is all put together. So let's go through this. So what are those enterprise companies versus research companies or research and community-based organizations? So the biggest difference is that the enterprise, this quadrant is about the companies that typically focus on business applications. So your Microsofts, your Googles and AWSs of the world, while they are investing in AI and LLM models, they're not trying to do this just for the sake of research work. They're also very critically looking at grabbing the market share. Microsoft has already shown that to all of us. So they're always focused on integrating these large language models into existing infrastructure. Their hope is that they can offer a lot more automation to their customers. They can offer scalability and operational efficiency to their customers. On the other hand, there are companies which are focused on research and community development. Their focus is generally always on how can they make open source contributions, how can they create engagement in the community. Their goal is not necessarily to drive monetary gains. Their number one goal is to advance the field of AI through collaboration and accessibility. These traditional focus companies are those companies who already have their established reputation in the technology industry. They are obviously leveraging their existing infrastructure and they want these LLMs to integrate within those infrastructure. It's an approach of making incremental innovation into their existing product lines. Whereas on the other side, disruptive companies, if you see, these are the guys who are coming in with a completely new thought process. They're challenging the status quo, they're challenging the paradigm of AI, and they're basically trying to create a disruptive jump in the progress what the AI and the LLM space is making. So when you think of that, obviously the names you see in the first quadrant, we have the traditional enterprise players. So we have players like Microsoft, which have made significant upfront investments with Azure's OpenAI service. AWS has its Bedrock platform. While they may not be directly building a lot of LLMs themselves, their focus is to make all the large language models available through their platform. Google is one of those companies on the forefront of AI investments and research and development as well. So their DeepMind and Palm 2 are sitting in this quadrant. On the other side, in the disruptive space, we have OpenAI. Their latest model GPT-4 has come out. Anthropic with Claude and Cohere with Command R. All these innovators are basically challenging the status quo, and they're trying to create groundbreaking LLMs. Their focus, obviously, that is why you hear from some of these guys all the time on launching new models, how their speed has increased drastically from the previous generation, how their usability and ethical considerations are improving. The third quadrant is the traditional research and community-based companies. We are seeing companies like Meta with their Llama and Cerebras systems with their GPT. There again focuses on improving and advancing the field of AI while making open source contribution and creating a collaborative environment for research. The last quadrant is on disruptive companies which are also in the research and community space. This is where we see GPT Neo X and Mistral 7B, and they're some of their models. Again, their focus is to democratize AI and make these technologies available to a wider community and create that innovation at scale. In my career, every time I've consulted with customers, and I've written about it for several years on LinkedIn as well, my core focus from any technology shift or disruptive shift which is happening, I've always used the word time to value. So when we think of LLM, when we think of AI, when we think of blockchain or any of the emerging technologies, I look at from the same lens. Where is the time to value? Where can enterprises deploy solutions and get faster returns? So that is one of the questions I also want you to answer as we look at this landscape. So let's go look at that as well next. So one more time, I'm going to take you back to the screen and show you the data collection, what I've done. And again, like I mentioned, all these are available in PDF. You can print them, read and add your notes to it. Again, I'm not an authority to know everything, but you may be able to add a lot more into the work I have done. So this should get you started. So let's look at the model and the screen here. So on the screen, what I've done is the leftmost portion is time to value. Again, my focus is always to think on where can enterprises derive quick value. And then the second column is looking at models. The third column, another very critical portion, is every company still has to make decisions on quick time to value and how much investment they need to make. I've tried to do that. And the fourth column is use case again and how they can be adopted. And to my limited knowledge and whatever knowledge I have, I've also applied which industries these use cases can be applied to and what kind of investments they make. So overall, again, I'm not going to walk you through line by line here. This whole information is available, but I'm going to talk about some broad brushstrokes here. But hopefully this makes a lot of sense to somebody who's trying to make a decision on which models are extremely suitable for their organization. Here is my analysis. When you are looking to make quick time to value, models like OpenAI, GPT-4, Claude 2, they are excellent for businesses who want immediate AI capabilities to be added into their business, right? And these capabilities can focus on customer-facing solutions. They can focus on content-related tasks without you needing to deploy heavy infrastructure in your organization. The second set or the second inference I make from this data is that models like Google, Palm 2, Llama 2 and Mistral, They are actually moderate time to value models. They actually provide a ton of customization and performance, and they could be ideal for enterprises and sectors who need a lot more control on what type of solutions they want to build. And then there are third type of model sets, which I call longer time to value models. This is where Meta's Llama and then DeepMind's Gemini has just come out, Falcon LLM. All of these are suitable for organizations in-house AI development who have the capability and the resources to build complex, high-value tasks. So that's about it for now. This was an overview of where the LLM models are, what are the different forces or LLM models in the market today, what kind of investments or brackets you should put them in, what type of time to value you can expect, what are some of the use cases you can expect to drive using some of these models, and hopefully the download sheet I created is useful for anybody wanting to know more. This can become extremely analytical when you are trying to compare so many models and look at their purpose, but I think hopefully this is a good starting point. If you have any question, please reach out. Thank you so much.